One day, a disciple approached Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi and asked, "What is the highest goal of spiritual experience for man?" Maharshi answered softly, "Self-realization." The disciple, curious, continued, "Can a married man realize the self?" Maharshi replied, "Certainly. Married or unmarried, a man can realize the self because that is here and now. If it were attainable only by effort or something new to be acquired, it would not be worth pursuit. What is not natural is never permanent. But I say the self is here, now, and alone." The disciple then said, "A salt doll diving into the sea will not be protected by a waterproof coat. This world, in which we toil day and night, is like the ocean." Maharshi looked at him and said, "Yes, the mind is the waterproof coat." The disciple reflected for a moment and said, "Then one may be engaged in work, and free from desire, keep up one's solitude. But life's duties allow little time to sit in meditation or even to pray." Maharshi replied, "Work performed with attachment is a shackle, but work done with detachment does not affect the doer. Even while working, such a one remains in solitude. To engage in your duty is the true namaskar, and abiding in God is the only true asana." The disciple asked, "Should I not renounce my home?" Maharshi answered, "If that had been your destiny, the question would not have arisen." Then the disciple asked, "Why did you leave your home in your youth?" Maharshi replied calmly, "Nothing happens except by divine dispensation. One's course of conduct in this life is determined by one's prarabdha." The disciple continued, "Is it good to devote all my time to the search for the self? If that is impossible, should I merely keep quiet?" Maharshi said, "If you can keep quiet without engaging in any other pursuit, it is very good. If that cannot be done, what use is silence so far as realization is concerned? So long as one is obliged to act, let him not give up the attempt to realize the self." The disciple then asked, "Do not one's actions affect one in afterbirths?" Maharshi smiled, "Are you born now? Why think of other births? The fact is there is neither birth nor death. Let him who is born think of death and its remedies." The disciple asked again, "Can you show us the dead?" Maharshi replied, "Did you know your kinsmen before their birth, that you should seek to know them after their death?" Curious about the life of a householder, the disciple asked, "How does a grihastha fare in the scheme of moksha? Should he not necessarily become a mendicant to attain liberation?" Maharshi said, "Why do you think you are a grihastha? If you think so now, similar thoughts of being a sannyasin will haunt you if you renounce. Whether you live in the household or go to the forest, your mind will follow you. The ego is the source of all thoughts. It creates the body, the world, and the identity of being a householder. If you renounce, it will only replace that thought with the thought of sannyasa, and the forest will replace your home. The mental obstacles will always remain and often grow stronger in new surroundings. Changing the environment is no help. The only obstacle is the mind, and it must be overcome wherever you are. If you can conquer it in the forest, why not at home? Therefore, there is no need to change your surroundings. Your effort can be made here and now." The disciple then asked, "Is it possible to enjoy samadhi while busy in worldly work?" Maharshi replied, "The feeling, 'I work,' is the hindrance. Ask yourself, who works? Remember who you are, and then the work will not bind you. It will go on automatically. Make no effort either to work or to renounce. Effort itself is bondage. What is destined to happen will happen. If you are destined not to work, no work will come to you, even if you seek it. If you are destined to work, you will be unable to avoid it. Leave everything to the higher power. You cannot renounce or retain as you choose." The disciple recalled Bhagavan's earlier words and said, "You said that while one seeks God within, outer work would go on automatically. In the life of Sri Chaitanya, it is said that during his lectures to students, he was seeking Krishna within, forgot his body, and went on talking of Krishna alone. But this raises a doubt. Can work safely be left to itself? Should one not keep partial attention on the physical work? Maharshi replied, "The self is all. Are you apart from the self? Can any work go on without the self? The self is universal, so all actions go on whether you strain yourself or not. The work will continue by itself." Just as Krishna told Arjuna that the Kauravas were already slain by God, it was not for Arjuna to worry about the act of killing, but to allow the higher will to act through him. The disciple persisted, "But the work may suffer if I do not attend to it." Maharshi replied, "Attending to the self means attending to the work. Because you identify yourself with the body, you think the work is done by you. But the body and its activities, including work, are not apart from the self. What does it matter whether you attend or not? When you walk from one place to another, you do not consciously attend to every step, yet you reach your destination. So also, all work goes on naturally." The disciple said, "It is then like sleepwalking." Maharshi nodded. "Quite so. When a child is fast asleep, his mother feeds him. He eats well but says the next morning, 'Mother, I did not take food last night.' The mother knows he did. Similarly, a traveler asleep in a moving cart does not know when the bulls move, stop, or are unyoked, but he finds himself in a different place when he wakes. The self is like that traveler, ever wakeful, though seemingly unaware. The waking state is the bulls moving. Samadhi is when they stand still, aware but not acting. And deep sleep is when they are unyoked, all activity ceasing." He continued, "Or take the cinema. Scenes are projected on the screen, but the screen itself is never affected. The spectator pays attention to the scenes, not the screen. Yet without the screen there can be no show. So the self is the screen, and all activities are the moving pictures. Whether you are aware of it or not, the self remains untouched." The disciple objected, "But there is an operator in the cinema." Maharshi replied, "The cinema show is made of insentient materials and so needs an operator. But the self is absolute consciousness, needing no operator outside itself." The disciple clarified, "I was referring to Krishna's words in the Gita. The Lord dwells in the heart of every being, and by his delusive power, spins round all beings as if on a machine." Maharshi said, "Because people identify as jivas, Krishna said God resides in the heart as the operator. In truth, there are no jivas and no operator outside them. The self is all, the screen, the picture, the seer, the actors, the light, the theater, everything. You mistake yourself for the actor, while you are actually the seer. It is like an actor asking if he can perform without the screen. Such is the case of the man who thinks of his actions apart from the self." The disciple smiled and said, "Then it is like asking the spectator to act in the cinema picture, so we must learn sleep-waking." Maharshi replied, "Actions and states depend on one's point of view. A crow sees with one eye on both sides. An elephant's trunk serves as hand and nose. A snake hears with its eyes. Whether you call the elephant's trunk a hand or a nose, it is the same. Likewise, for the Jnani, sleep-waking or waking sleep, dream sleep or dreaming wakefulness, all are the same." Still puzzled, the disciple said, "But we have a physical body in a physical world. If we sleep while working, or work while asleep, won't things go wrong?" Maharshi said, "Sleep is not ignorance, it is your pure state. Wakefulness is not knowledge, it is ignorance. There is full awareness in sleep and total ignorance in waking. Your real nature covers both and goes beyond. The self is beyond knowledge and ignorance. Sleep, dream, and waking are modes passing before the self. They happen whether you know it or not. That is the state of the Jnani, in whom samadhi, waking, dream, and deep sleep pass like bulls moving or standing while the traveler sleeps." The disciple sighed. "Of course, they cannot arise for the self, but I have not yet realized the self." Maharshi said, "That is the obstacle. You must give up the idea that you are an ajnani, who must realize the self. You are the self. Was there ever a time when you were not aware of it? The disciple said playfully, So, we must experiment in sleep-waking or daydreaming. Maharshi laughed. Then the disciple continued seriously, I believe that a man immersed in samadhi, through constant contemplation of the self, may become motionless for that reason. His body may be active or inactive, but his mind remains unaffected. Another person claims that physical activity prevents samadhi. What is Bhagavan's view? You are the living proof of mine. Maharshi replied, Both are right. You refer to Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and the other to Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In the latter, the mind is immersed in the light of the self, while in deep sleep it is immersed in darkness. The person distinguishes between samadhi and activity after waking from it. In such a state, bodily and mental activity, perception and thought are all seen as obstacles to Kevala Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But in Sahaja Samadhi, the mind has dissolved in the self and is lost. There are no obstructions or differences. The activities of such a being are like the feeding of a sleeping child, visible to others, but unknown to him. Just as the traveler sleeps while the cart moves, the Sahaja Janani remains unaware of his bodily activities, for his mind is dead, resolved into the bliss of the self. The mind of one who has realized the self is wholly destroyed. Yet to the onlooker he may seem to possess a mind like any other man. The I in the sage has only an apparent objective reality. In truth, it has neither subjective existence nor objective being.